everybody, and welcome back to the Consummate Athlete Podcast. I'm Molly Herford, author of 4 books on cycling, soon to be 5, yay! Writer about all things fitness related, lover of all things fitness related, and co-host of this lovely podcast.
And I'm Peter Glassford, and I'm here, the co-host of Molly Herford, the bag carrier occasionally of Molly Herford.
He carries them very well. He's very strong.
I'm also a registered kinesiologist and professional cycling coach, and occasionally I race my bike, although it's been a while. That'll be happening again here in April at some point. But
but this time you didn't say you're bad at it or moderate at it. You just said you did it.
Occasional. So I'm like a part-time. Yeah.
Well, we actually just both signed. We're doing a lot of races together this season. We're doing Paris to Ancaster, one of our favorite gravel grinder type races in Ontario. In a couple weeks here, and then of course we're doing Ironman together. So
both on a tandem.
Yeah, absolutely. So look for the couple yelling at each other on a tandem. That would be us.
We're yelling our communication.
No, we're not.
Right, left, right.
I want a divorce. The usual. Anyway, it's Friday night. We might have gotten into the wine a little bit before we hit record here.
This is the Consummate Athlete Podcast.
Yes, and we're consummately drinking wine.
No.
Anyway, we're about to leave California, which is very sad. In less than 48 hours, I'll be driving back east, and Peter will be meeting me halfway. Which is very nerve-wracking.
I like to think of it as 1/3, but...
something like that.
We're meeting in Denver.
Yeah, it's 17 hours, 25 hours. All right, fine, you can have a third. Anyway, we were lucky enough, though, while we were still in Southern California, that I got the chance to sit down. Sadly, Peter couldn't make it, but I got the chance to go sit down with Phil Gaiman, who is our guest this week. I am so excited about this one. Phil is a retired now, although he keeps saying it's the worst retirement ever, pro cyclist. He's one of the few Americans to make it to the pro tour level. He's the author of a couple books. One of them is just coming out. The other one is Pro Cycling on $10 a Day, which is a really great read. He's I guess you could call him a serial entrepreneur in the cycling world.
Yeah, quite an interesting guy. And you guys get into talking about how he makes that happen while racing on Pro Tour or racing at a high level domestically. How do you run businesses, clothing businesses, and different businesses along the way, including a fondo based around his cookie love?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually really sad I didn't get to go to the place he recommended earlier that day. We get into why I didn't do that. He sort of almost kicks me out. The interview almost doesn't happen, but Well,
you insulted LA.
I insult LA a lot at the beginning, but then I explained why I was late, and it was
like rap battles. This was like the
you'll
East
hear in a
West
minute. Anyway, Phil's an awesome dude. He has a rad podcast as well, Real Talent with Phil Gaiman. I highly recommend everybody look it up. He's just a really cool guy. I'm really glad that this time in SoCal we got to spend a bit of time with him and get to know him a little bit better. We've said we've known each other on the internet for a while, so it was cool to sit down in real life and actually record a podcast.
Well, and he's good friends with Jeremy Powers, so you sort of mutual friends.
Yeah, we talk about that too.
Your mutual friend, Jeremy Powers.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if we say anything that I'm like, oh crap, Jeremy's going to listen to this, but I don't think I do. I think we were both universally flattering about our dear friend Jeremy, who we love very much.
Well, this can be like a test. If Jeremy hears this, then he can be on a future episode. But if he doesn't hear it, then we'll just never bring it up.
That's not true. We're going to have Jeremy on as well at some point.
If he passes the test.
Maybe if he passes the test, we'll see. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this episode with Phil. It's one of my favorites. I mean, I realize I say that about pretty much everybody we interview.
I think pretty much any phone call you ever have, you say they're so
true.
Nice and it was your favorite. But.
It's true. But I mean, that's a really good problem to have when you think about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we have a bunch of other really great episodes coming up too, and phone calls and interviews that I'm so stoked on. So anyway, listen to this one. It's great. Phil's great. And we had a fabulous time. Health IQ is a life insurance company that promotes a health-conscious lifestyle through financial rewards.
They've used science and data to get lower rates on life insurance for health-conscious people just like you, including those who exercise 4 times a week through cycling, weightlifting, swimming, running, whatever consummate athlete lifestyle you're undertaking.
Research has shown that people who are highly active through exercise have a 22% lower cancer risk, 50% lower heart risk, and 34% lower risk of early death.
Many people who exercise regularly don't realize that they can get a special rate with Health IQ if they qualify through the Health IQ quiz.
Health IQ has special rates for cyclists, runners, triathletes, vegans, and other health-conscious people, so you can qualify by scoring elite on quizzes for specific lifestyles.
Essentially replacing BMI with waist-to-hip ratio for better predictors of cardiovascular disease when it comes to weightlifters and muscular builds.
That's great for me. They also have replaced the LDL-HDL ratio with triglyceride to HDL ratio for low-carb and paleo dieters, which is a better predictor of cholesterol health, and they don't take into account one incidence of family history if you're otherwise healthy.
So, go over to healthiq.com/CAPod
all lowercase.
And take that quiz. They have a bunch of different quizzes on the website, and the website's pretty well designed, so it's worth heading over there, checking it out. And again, using that link, healthiq.com/CAPOD.
Here with Phil Gaiman, sitting in his apartment. It's pretty sweet, except for the 2 hours of traffic it takes to get here.
That's why we do not leave Toluca Lake.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I hate LA.
I understand. No, LA sucks. Toluca Lake is a wonderful island of nobody bothers you and you can park. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's true. I actually got upset because I parked like a third of a mile away because I saw a spot and I was like,
yeah.
Oh,
no,
shit.
This isn't the city. There's the city, and then like people in the city are like, ew, you live in the valley? I live in the valley. And I like it here. And you people in the city can go valet at Ralph's all day.
Right.
And I'll walk to Trader Joe's, and life is wonderful here. And if someone like wants me to visit them in Santa Monica, it's the most horrifying thought. and I can't. I'll ride there. It's soul sucking if you live in the city and you do it wrong.
Yeah, I can imagine. So do you drive places or do you just ride mostly out here?
If I have a meeting or something in the city that they know I'm a cyclist and they're not going to be like offended, which is everyone, I'll just ride there.
Yeah.
Like I'll just plan my recovery day. Will be like the day that I have a work meeting or a lunch meeting or whatever, and I show up there in a kit. Like even when I was racing, I'd go train in the hills, like Hollywood Hills. There's a lot of good riding. There's like it's sneaky. There's all these little canyons that nobody drives on because it's ridiculously tight, narrow roads, and play around in there and then coast down into like Beverly Hills and have lunch. Mm-hmm. It's a nice little world.
Have you figured out any like baller like racer to commuter tips where like you pack like a silk t-shirt in your back pocket and like?
No, I just, the thing is, if you're fit enough, you just don't get super sweaty.
Yeah.
So like I can ride 3 hours around the city and it's not actually exhausting.
Yeah.
Yet I'm sure I'll get there slowly. I'll lose that fitness and I'll be gross and someone will say something and I'll have to make an adjustment.
The saddle sore expert in me is just like, oh, and then you're sitting in a kit while you eat.
Yeah,
No.
I do. Chamois cream. I got good. I do have like lots of good stuff. I have good clothes. Like yeah. I don't know. I'm sure I've offended someone and they've been polite about it, but so far so good.
I think you're all right. I've gotten coffee with you and it was fine. You didn't smell
right?
bad.
Do I smell
so...
now because I haven't showered? I've been chasing it all day.
You're golden. I also actually ran in Santa Monica and came here, so
there you go.
We might just equally smell
it's not
sweaty.
too hot today
fine.
either. It'll get in the summer. It's different, but
yeah.
That's okay.
We went camping in Ojai the other night and it got down to 25.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's high up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was freezing, and then by like 9 a.m. it was like 80 degrees and I was sweating. I was so angry.
Yeah, no, I was in Big Bear last weekend. Same thing. I was like it was really hard to get to my car. Like I was really running out. I was like, no, I can't do this.
Don't want to do it. We're actually heading up towards that area tonight.
Oh yeah, Lake Gregory.
Yeah, because Fontana Benelli weekends.
Okay, why are you saying Lake Gregory? That's like a weird. I like forget that exists. That's like one of the rides I do from Big Bear when I have a weird day.
It's basically because it's a cheap area to find big houses that you can rent for like 9 days, and we have a few juniors that Peter's coaching.
Okay.
Through the project, so it's easiest and cheapest to go up there and not $1 million.
Okay.
Also not staying in Fontana.
It's not too high up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like halfway up, so...
Yeah, Big Bear's an extra like half-hour drive.
Yeah. So it'll be fine.
Sure, it's nice. Yeah, there's a little park there.
Yeah,
I've had
exactly.
coffee in Lake Gregory.
Yeah.
Hot Shots Coffee House.
Okay.
You've been up there?
I have,
They make
actually.
a mac and cheese and bacon sandwich. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
gonna leave that there.
Excellent, excellent.
I think it's Hot Shots with a Z.
I think you're right. I remember
Yeah.
looking it up last year because we stayed a little bit further up in like Rim Forest or something.
Yeah, it's like the Sky Forest, and then there's Rim of the World.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of weird stuff up there.
Yeah.
And then that's in... Hot Shots is in Blue Jay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my altitude.
Yeah, seriously. The area we stayed last year was like a little weird. Like,
Oh, yeah. Big Bear has that, too. Big Bear has the, like, tourist side, and then there's the, like, local side. There's, like, Confederate flags
yeah, and we were in
trailers.
the off season.
Yeah.
So like I was trying to find coffee or something in Big Bear, and we drove there, and I think I like had a massage or something too, and I did that, and we like tried to find a place to like get coffee and
Yeah.
hang out, and we were just like, no.
Yeah, you
we,
gotta know it.
We can't stay here.
The best coffee in Big Bear is the guy who owns the Big Bear coffee shop. He makes it in his living room. He has this crazy whole process. He won't sell it for you. Like, if you know him, he'll invite you over and make you coffee.
Okay.
Like, Derek will hook you up. But, yeah, the other coffee, there's like 2 espresso machines in that town. You have to know where they
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the weirdest place. But anyway.
Sorry.
Let's
This is important.
That was on me. This is very important. Actually, what I do love about you is like every time I say I'm going to a place, you instantly have like the cyclist Yelp just like rolls right out. Like, go talk to this guy and get
Yeah,
this.
you were in Santa Monica, and did you go to M Street? You
So I didn't.
That's
Because
okay.
I was going to, but then my
Just leave.
run. And
Just leave.
I know.
You're not welcome
I
here.
know, and I didn't get pizza.
M Street Kitchen.
the
Well, it's the
worst.
same place. It's like M Street and then Stella Bar. So like I end up, I don't know if it's me finding the cyclist or the cyclist finding me, but there happens to be like the guy who makes cookies for my fondo is Chef Jeff Mahan, and he owns his restaurants there, and we kind of found each other. Like, he's a cyclist who makes cookies, and I'm a cyclist who likes cookies, and it's a shame we're not gay. 'Cause we just
Sorry
be
about
done.
that.
I know, it's a bummer. So I send people to this restaurant as much as I can.
I really wanted to, but so I'm gonna just go. I did my run, and then I actually got a facial. Like, do I not look glowing?
Oh, that's
and,
pretty
like,
LA. Okay.
I know. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is my last day in LA. Like, I need to do something super LA.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next,
So-
you rent you can rent a poodle and walk down Rodeo
Ooh,
Drive.
yeah, but this was like an organic facial.
That's
and they were
more
like-
Santa Monica.
It
yeah.
was so
Okay.
Santa Monica.
Okay. No, that's
yeah.
fine. That's fine.
I
Yeah.
feel pretty fabulous. So anyway, let's talk about you. You're from Georgia, but now you live out here.
Correct.
Give us like the brief bio for people who listen, because we do have. So we have non-cyclists that listen to this podcast.
There are people who don't ride bikes
No.
on this planet.
I know. We actually started the podcast because we wanted to not just talk to cyclists. So we've
Yeah.
gotten to have like NFL guys and NASCAR guys and like, swimmers and all different people come on, and that's been sweet. But obviously we kind of trend back towards
Right.
cycling.
I have that problem too. With my podcast, the same thing. I was like, I want to interview people outside of cycling, and I interviewed a friend who was like, he made some money in tech. He used to be a cyclist. He sort of transitioned out, and then I interviewed a guy who plays guitar with Bad Religion. And then you
Wait,
look
was
at the
it Mike
downloads. Dimkich, yeah.
I love him. I interviewed
He's a
him for
hero.
bicycling.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
so
that's right.
cool.
Yeah, that's right. He's a good buddy now. But when you look at the downloads, and it's just like, the people who know my stuff would rather listen to a cyclist than a guitarist. And it's annoying, because Dimkich is so much cooler than anybody else I've interviewed.
I know.
But,
Oh my gosh. When I got assigned that interview, I called all of my punk friends from high school, and I was like, guys, guess who I'm talking to?
Right. He trains in my cookie socks, man. That's
So
why,
cool.
Yeah, we traded. I have some cult socks. Anyway, brief bio. It's hard because I've written a book about my bio, but whatever. I grew up in Georgia, got into bike racing. I was a chubby kid, and then I got into riding bikes for fun, lost some weight, went to college.
Did you also grow a foot at some point that
yeah,
helped
that
you?
helped. That helped. But I weigh, so at my peak I was probably 5'8", 180, and then I got to 6'1", 150. I was never enormous.
Yeah.
I was exactly I was exactly obese. I was 31% body fat, and you could go in either direction, and I went back, and thanks to bikes, and I'd probably starved myself at some point. I was in high school. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, and the only thing I knew was that I liked riding bikes. So I joined like a cycling club, got into racing, and did nothing else for the next 10 years.
So no other sports at any point.
I mean, like youth soccer is like upper middle class mandate in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was the chubby goalie. So no.
Sitting in like the goal with like the snacks in your pocket style?
No, I didn't have to do that, but I played basketball too. I did play basketball until all the kids got taller than me. I was tall in like 4th grade and YMCA, but I was never like an athlete until I just started riding bikes. Yeah. I wasn't good at anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. What about bikes was it? Was it just that you loved it, or was it that you were naturally good at it, or a combination of both?
Well, I liked riding. It's like, I would say like riding a bike is the perfect speed to like, you can cover a lot of ground, but you can also experience what you're doing. So like if you go on a road trip, you're missing stuff. Mm-hmm. If you ride your bike on whatever that same road, you're going to stop, you're going to see some stuff, you're going to like, you can absorb the surroundings, but you can also like do a few hundred miles in a few days. So I think I fell in love with it from that. And then just from transportation standpoint, like I could ride around the city and mess around with my friends. So I did a lot of that. And then racing was sort of like, I just joined the club. I like the community, I guess. That kind of came next of just at University of Florida. I had a big cycling scene then. Probably like 60 people in the club, which was pretty fun. And then I started racing, and I don't think I hadn't really been I'd been riding a lot. I hadn't really been training. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. But I won my first Cat 5 race, so it was kind of like all of those things combined. And I also happened to. It was the first thing I was ever good at without trying too hard or without it felt like it was trying. So yeah, I kind of just kept going with that.
Okay, what did you study in college?
English and journalism.
Me too.
Yeah,
double major. Yay!
So here we are.
Yeah, right. That's actually true. We both have podcasts. We both have books. Mm-hmm. Both have.
You don't have a lot. If you don't have to hustle, like there's nothing. Yeah, or just do something different completely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, so actually, that's sort of the next thing we really were super interested in is you've had the book. You have like all of these different like little side projects going on. When you were a pro, when you were racing and that was what you were doing, did you feel like you were missing out on getting to do those projects, or were you actually working on a lot of them in the background?
I was doing all that. When I started, it was a lot of just like desperation, hustling to like
feed yourself.
Yeah, that helps, or just do something that like didn't seem, because like for so long cycling seemed like this total, like I couldn't stop, but it was also most likely going to be a dead end. Yeah. Of just like, there's no way this is going to work out. So like, I better do something with this degree. I better not let that whole thing be to waste. So like when I first got on a pro team, I got on Jelly Belly. I did a blog for Bicycling Magazine, and then I would have them do. Actually, no, I think it started before. I would ask for. Like when I was on Fruta Fruta, I was like riding around the country just as an amateur. I would write reviews for them, and I'd be like, okay, send me 10 floor pumps, and I'll write a paragraph on each one somehow. Like this one puts air in the tire, and then like I would somehow like do 2 sentences on each one, and then I would sell them on eBay, and then I could eat. And I would do that for like different. If I needed like a bike box or something, I couldn't afford to buy a bike box. I'd be like, "Can I review a bike box?" And they'd send me something. Mm-hmm. I remember exactly the one they sent me. It was a Gaiman. It was very nice. It really helped. So I just did
positive review. Right
exactly,
there.
I did that. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, oh, it's free. I loved it.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, but so that was a big part of it. And I think like the blogging, I always kind of liked telling stories and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that just sort of turned into like 2 parts of my cycling career, of one of just expressing what I was doing or somehow like writing about it, and then the actual doing it.
Now, Peter and I talk about this because he coached, and he still races some pro stuff, but like mostly he now coaches with like a side of mountain bike racing. And he wonders sometimes like what it would have been like if he hadn't like been going on the coaching as like the side business when he was racing. Do you ever think like, should you have like not done this stuff, or would you have lost your sanity if you hadn't done the side stuff?
I thought about that a lot. the thing that took more of my time, like, was I had a clothing business for a long time too, and I was.
You've had so many businesses. I love it.
It was a long decade. I think I would have had to quit if I couldn't support myself somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like the clothing business, eventually, like I managed to like buy a house from that. That wasn't from Kenda Pro Cycling money. That was from like having a bunch of clubs and a bunch of weird stuff people bought on the internet. And once I was able to afford a house and pay my own bills, that was like when I had that little stability. I could like rest somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I won Redlands. Like it took like I had to sort of earn that point, and that happened at I was 26, 27.
Yeah. I mean, it frees up a lot of like mental and emotional energy when you realize.
Yeah, so like if someone had given me a trust fund or whatever, or like a nice paycheck to race my bike, when it's just that wasn't the climate then, and I got lucky in some ways. I got luckier than a lot of guys, but I didn't get lucky in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't. I didn't have a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So what led to writing the first book?
That was, I think, so I've been writing blogs for a million years, I guess, from 2008 through, that was 2014.
No, wait, were you one of the teenagers that like had a live journal?
No, I started
that?
writing the blog like for Bicycling Magazine about cycling. When I got on Jelly Belly, that was like just a weekly thing. And that was just kind of to pay the bills again. But it was fun. It was like a fun outlet.
Right.
It didn't take too much time. It was never like stressful. I got to get a blog in,
Mm-hmm.
And it's cathartic. I think psychologists tell you to journal.
Mm-hmm.
So I got paid for it.
Yep.
It was great.
It's funny because now you can kind of, I would, maybe you're the same way, you can kind of sort of tell when you read other athletes' blogs who do stress out about writing it, or do phone it in, or do have trouble with it.
You can tell the ones who like are hitting a thesaurus, or like describing like the sky, or it's just like, this is, congratulations, you don't need this. Yep. Like, this, for some reason, like, this is forced upon me, I have no choice, but like, if you're, it's weird. No, I know exactly what you're saying, but yeah, at some point I kind of just realized like, I like as I was writing all the blogs, I just paste them because otherwise they just get lost on the internet. So I just put them into a Word document, and when I opened it, it was like 140,000 words, and I was like, oh, I could like cut a bunch of bullshit out of there, and it's a book, and that was kind of what I did with the first book. Like,
okay,
that was my first lap, was just a collection of the blogs, and then I filled in the holes.
Oh my god, you're so much smarter than me. I've been writing for a decade and I've never like saved any of it anywhere.
Maybe somebody probably told me to do that.
Whoever it was is a genius.
Yeah.
If that was like a professor, that was like the best
No,
advice you could have ever gotten.
They didn't tell me anything useful.
So with the English and journalism degree, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like I was doing like blogs, articles, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But for me, like, I wasn't going to be a writer until I had a book. And did that ever...
I still don't even think of myself as a writer. I don't know. The like having a book definitely like it. Like when you see your book at the bookstore, it's super. Yeah,
it's the best feeling.
It's dumb how like validating that is.
I know.
And just like it's like it's an exclusive club and it feels good, and it's like something else that you can kind of have. Like I have like all those years of racing, whatever. Like it all felt very selfish, and then like I'm doing it for me. I'm trying to get my results. I'm trying to get my contract, my wins, whatever. Mm-hmm. And here's like, okay, this is like people can learn from this or laugh at this or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was surprised at how satisfying the book was.
Yeah.
And, like when I finished it, I was like, I'm never writing one of these again. And then you get the emails from people, and it's like, I have to write another one of these.
I guess I'm gonna write another one of these.
This speaks to me.
It's a never-ending thing, I think. Pro cycling on $10 a day. Where did you come up with the name?
I forget exactly. I mean, it was like, obviously it's a spoof on the old like travel, Italy on $5 a day thing. And I think like that was sort of how I felt about cycling. It's just like I was kind of just dancing through this world and trying to figure it out and doing whatever I had. So I think it occurred to me and it was apt.
Yeah.
There's not much of a story behind it. Yeah.
No, I like it. I do admit when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be like cheesy, like an actual guy.
Right. I think a lot of people thought that. Yeah.
So, which I still think, honestly, you could take that book and like make more of like a handbook.
Yeah,
like
I think handbooks probably
kind of
sell better too, but I don't know, like that wasn't. And then I have like the Ask a Pro book, which sort of that kind of checks that box.
Yeah.
I don't know, like.
And that's the newest one that's like just now out.
That one comes out. Well, by the time this comes up, that'll be out. Yeah.
I'm like looking at the pile of them now. So yeah,
that's the pile of envelopes in my living room at the moment.
So what's that one about?
Well, that one. So I did this collection. I did this column for Velo News. That was like my first, like regularly paid writing gig. Was the Ask a Pro column for Velo News, and that was one of those things. Like I realized I was done. Well, for one thing, you write a column. 8 years I was writing like a monthly column, and like same thing. I would just save it into a Word document. Eventually, there's a lot of words, but a lot of like people would ask me questions that like I answered in 2010, and so obviously like they didn't read that one, but I don't want to answer it again. Like
the Word document comes up again.
So it would just be like at some point I sort of felt okay. People, there's questions that people have that can exist, and then and when I'm retiring, like I'm not going to answer anybody's questions anymore, and so it seemed like a graceful way to like end the column and kind of like have something for that. Like the book, like the magazines, they're not permanent. A book sort of feels a little more permanent. Like
Absolutely.
You're saying.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to have racks and racks of Velo News that you can then like.
Yeah, there's people that do.
I think that one was in 2011. Maybe it was like August.
Yeah.
I remember it was hot when I read it.
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't even know when I answered questions, but mostly like I think it was sort of a fun. It was like a lot of little funny stories and jokes, and they're like half of them aren't actually useful questions or answers, but it's there. People like the column, so now it can kind of live on.
Okay. Hey, one of my favorite columns ever is Bicycling Magazine used to have like Style Guy or something.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah,
it was so
that guy.
not serious, but like those were the best ones.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's like everybody has the little thing that they like gravitate to in Velo News, and I feel like they should put a collection of Dan Worry's column too.
Yeah.
Like same thing. All that stuff is kind of evergreen. And
yeah, he's got great stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we were thinking about this with all of those side projects, and I want to come back because you still have a couple other ones like your fondo, but it seems like a lot of I mean our friends like Mr. Jeremy Powers also have these like side projects going on. Do you think like you gravitate towards those people, or?
I think I probably learned part of it from Jeremy, just like sort of seeing like when you're training, when you're a full-time pro, like you're riding 25 hours a week, and like I don't know what else you do with your time. Like you can only foam roll so many hours.
There's a lot of other hours.
Yeah, and it's kind of like if you sort of have like an engine of, I don't know, it was like fun starting a business. There was times it was work, but it was also like there was a box in my brain that felt like, and again like the hopelessness of bike racing of just okay, at least I'm doing something with my life. I have a business, or like I remember I had like. Well, one of many bad races, but I had a really bad race at Cascade one year, and I like would get on the computer at the host house and like, well, I made a sale today. I just signed on a new club. That's $5,000. Like my something is working in my life, and it's not this other thing. but here, so you can kind of like focus on. You could pick one, whichever one is working well that week, and it's not in your control.
I like that. You didn't fall into a pit of despair.
Yeah, but the other part of it is kind of like when. And Jeremy did well with this, and like I probably learned it from or noticed it from Ted King of like when you're a pro, and I think a lot of people like don't realize this. They're chasing the result, they're chasing the, well, if I got 9th and you got 10th, I'm better than you. When the reality is like if I could get 9th at the Tour of California and you got 7th, like that looks the same to a World Tour team, except like I have a blog and 15,000 Twitter followers, and like I'm gonna get signed for that. Like it's the same job that you would do with that ranking, and it does like it eventually is that will put you over the edge with somebody else, and it's a part of the job that like a lot of people kind of neglect, unfortunately, like it's worth doing, and it kind of like will get you somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, like, bike racing has a shelf life, whether it's injury or aging out or whatever. And if you haven't established any kind of relationships or following or anything, like...
Right, yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do? Maybe work in your local bike shop?
Right. No, I was racing as a pro, like, full-time. This was all I really tried to do for 10 years. That was, like, my main thing. And if it wasn't for all the side stuff, I would have finished with nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, it'd be nothing. Like, I had just from the relationships and the friends, but now it's like I have a house, I have a couple books, like I had a business. It was all, I know things.
Yeah,
it's nice.
You can function as like an adult human being.
It's scary to think what would have happened otherwise. What I'd be doing right now.
Yeah. And you also have your fondo in October. Mm-hmm. So what is it like running an event from the other side? Do you hate bike racers now?
Well, it's not racing, so no. I put on races when I was in college. I coached the team at the University of Florida, and so I put on that race a couple times.
Okay.
So it's like a club thing, so you're supposed to let the students do it, which means like, well, when I was a student, I was like an officer in the cycling club, and I screwed everything up, and then the coach would kind of bail us out, and then I was the coach, and I'd be the only person who knew all the city officials and whatever. Mm-hmm. So I sort of like had a sense of the event, and so it's not that bad. And then putting on the fondo was a shocking amount of work and money and all that stuff. But it was kind of, at the end, there was this, like, it went really well, which helped. Like, if it had gone badly, if it had rained, or like if the cookies hadn't gone well. But there were a lot of things that kind of like aligned, and it worked out. And the fondo happened like 5 days after I realized I was going to retire. So it was like an emotional time too. But at the end of all that, like, there were like 900 people showed up, and honestly, like, I didn't get any complaints. Nice. Like, and I was waiting for that because, of course,
like that one
I just figured there'd be like an inbox full of like, hey, can you do this, or this, you were out of gluten-free, so, like, I was waiting for that, and it didn't happen, and there was just so much like, hey, thanks, I had a really great day. Oh. And when you multiply that times like hundreds of people, it's
That's
really
awesome.
like, I gave everybody a really good day. And that's kind of the best thing you can do.
Nice.
So yeah, it was super rewarding, and of course a bunch of ideas on little ways to improve it and grow it. And I think like the community here totally deserves like a mass cycling event, like a Levi's Grand Fondo scale.
Yeah.
I want 10,000 people someday, and like LA deserves it. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember when I was helping with collegiate stuff when I was an officer in the club, going out at like 11 p.m. to like fill in potholes with like asphalt from the normal. Department. Yeah. Like normal people do. Just like trying to like hope like security doesn't see you fixing the road before the crit.
We had a time trial day 1 and then a criterium day 2, and we had somebody, I forget how exactly, but the porta potty rental, like, we thought they were going to move them from the first venue to the second venue, and they did not. No, I remember what happened. They moved them for us, but then they wanted to pick it up from the individual spot, or from the first spot. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever happened, we had to lift porta potties into my friend Phil Bailey's giant pickup truck.
Oh no!
It was 2 at a time, and drive them across town, and I mean they were full of shit.
Yeah, like
and it was just like 4 dudes.
Oh my god! Were you wearing like hazmat? Like, I would have at least bought like a raincoat or something.
Kit. Like, no, it's just you do what you do. Yeah, getting saddle sores.
Oh, brutal.
It's college. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, with the fondo, with all of your projects, and I want to get into the worst retirement ever in a second. How do you choose the partners that you're going to work with for all of these?
That's a lesson that I learned probably like from the clothing business. I got lucky with a partner there, but kind of like the way. So when I had the clothing business, when it first started, the problem was, so I'm coaching the collegiate team, and we would do the clothing order with whatever brands, and every year we'd switch brands because like back then there wasn't like an online system. It was like you had to get, and I'm not going to name the brand, but it was all of them. Like no one, like just cycling as always, they're 5 years behind every other business. And I remember like I organized the clothing order, so I would get checks from every rider. and then I put them into my personal bank account, because you can't have like a school bank account. That wasn't allowed for whatever the sports club's policies, or if you did, like there was too much red tape to use it. So we just did it through our own account. And now like I have $40,000 in my bank account that belongs to somebody else. I write a giant check to the clothing company, and then they would mail me like a truckload full of clothes that are unsorted, and I have to like medium socks, like go through this. And it was like a week of my life it was so antiquated. And I just had a friend who was in like the business school, and I was like, could you make a website that does this? So we like did that, and then like we would source custom clothing from China, and we probably had like the most efficient brand that no one had ever heard of, and then and it worked for a couple of years, and then everyone else caught up, and so I guess the lesson that I learned was when everyone else caught up, and now there's like a million clothing brands that like went to China and sourced fabrics, and now it's easier. Like I was doing it when like Alibaba was a thing, but I probably ordered like 1,000 samples one year, and then I like had to fly there. Like now you don't have to fly there. Like I went to China with like a suitcase full of clothing and like made the patterns.
Oh man.
And I think now it's easier. So I guess what I learned, and then there was a point where like now I have a crappy clothing company that has no advantages to every other clothing company, and we still didn't have like enough money to market it properly, and it just comes down to marketing and branding eventually. And so I realized then like, okay, this isn't anything that like I'm uniquely qualified for. This is like this, and that was when I kind of shut that down. I like sold half of it, and we ended it. But it was like so from there I sort of learned like, okay, what's a business that I can do that nobody else can do? Like what's a book I can write nobody else can write?
Yeah.
So like no one in the world tour either cares enough or will actually sit down and write a book themselves. Like they'll get a ghostwriter. So I can tell that story. No one like in LA could like has the breadth to get like enough sponsors to put on like a giant fondo and to like get the cash and to get the partners to get it together. Part of that was the M Street Kitchen guy. We can go full circle. I was sort of thinking about it, and I ran into that was when I first got to know Jeff, and he was like, "Oh, if you make a fondo, I'll make the cookies." And I was like, we're talking like 4,000 cookies. He's like, "Yeah,
sure,
like,
sure."
He has a bunch of restaurants, and it was worth it for him from like a marketing, and it's fun. So I was like, okay, well that's something that like no one else is gonna make that connection. Now I have to put on a fondo.
There you go. What was the best cookie served at the fondo?
Well, so last year we just did chocolate chip.
Okay.
Because that's like my cookie. It was sea salt chocolate chip. That's just my go-to, obviously.
What else is there?
Yeah, I think this year we're gonna like mix it up, and we're gonna have like each stop will have a different cookie. Just like probably just more. There's more Instagram potential. It's more fun, and I'm just gonna like prefer the chocolate chip stop. But then people can try. There's one he makes that like the best one has like he'll make Rice Krispie treats, and he'll like chop them up, and then he'll press them like cubes of them into the top of the cookie.
Ooh. When
it finishes baking. Yeah, it's pretty. It's kind of messed up.
Now I'm
it's
really
diabolical.
I feel
if
like
you follow him on Instagram, you're just like every day, you're just like, you ass. Like, would you stop it? Just knock it off.
Now I'm really sad I didn't go, or happy because now I like feel like I'm like really like righteous right now.
Yeah,
like,
you went for a run today. You
yeah.
didn't have like a 700 calorie awesomeness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, worst retirement ever. How did you come up with this?
That was another like accident. I guess the other thing that I'm thinking of like starting stuff is sort of like responding to what people do or what they like. And so like last fall I finished racing, and like I sort of realized that like I was done professional cycling. Like I just wasn't getting an offer that was worth taking, and it wasn't working for me. And I went, but I'm still like, I was fit. I'd been training, like thinking I was going to get a contract. And so I go on a group ride, and I beat the record for this. There's a group ride every Sunday that races up Nichols Canyon in Hollywood. And I took the Strava for it. And the guy who had the Strava before he tested positive Masters Nationals, and then he was caught selling it. And then he had like every Strava in the city at that point. And I just like, I posted a screenshot on Instagram. I'm like, hey, look, I got Nichols from that guy. And I didn't even really know like how much vitriol there was against him.
That blew up.
It was funny. And so the thing is like, so when you have social media, you can sort of see like, okay, I post a picture of my bike leaning against a fence, it gets 500 likes. If I post a picture of me with Gandhi, it would get 2 likes. But if I post a screenshot of me on top of a Strava KOM and that guy's second, it would get 2,000. I was like, okay, people like this. I'm going to do more of that.
Yeah.
And I was paid through the end of the year. So I started doing that. I just like systematically went through and took a bunch of them. And then there's a point, like, must have been December, where Vaughters called me and was like, and that was right after, like, so there's a news story about me taking the Strava KOMs, which I don't even care. Like, I was just kind of having fun. Like, I liked it. Like, my friends were stoked. Like, my friends in LA were sick of this guy at the top of leaderboards, and they couldn't beat him. They're like, yeah, Phil, get this one, and I would. And so I was just playing around. I'm a pro cyclist for 2 more months, and I was getting paid with nothing to do. And then Vaughters called and was like, hey, I have an idea where we like have you back on the team, but you're not racing, but you have like, you're wearing the team kit and you go and you like get all these climbs and you just go for hill climb records all over the country. And it was like, we were going to do that for a couple months. And I was like, it's a good idea, but like team sponsors, and I have relationships I want to do with my fondo, and I didn't really have great experiences working with JV in my history. So it was kind of like, I'm just going to do that, but but it didn't make sense to do it with him anyway. So I was trying to pitch this TV show. I still am. So it was sort of like I had an idea for this travel show about cycling, and I go into these like if you're in the world tour, you can get one meeting if somebody at a talent agency knows is a cyclist, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I would do that, and they'd all be like, okay, this is cool. Like, I like the idea, but it's going to be hard to sell you as a host. And I'm like, that's valid, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Ouch.
Well, it's just like, who am I, you know?
Fair enough, but still, it's kind of harsh.
They didn't say, like, because you're ugly. That was implied. But, so I was kind of like, all right, well, I could just...
That's inaccurate.
But so it would make a good... That would sort of add something to the whole Strava mission, is like, if I had someone filming it, and if we were telling the story that way. So that was kind of an obvious thing, and I was able to, like... pretty short time, like, line up enough sponsors to kind of handle the expenses and make it worthwhile. And so far, people are enjoying it. One episode's posted, but I think they like the idea.
Yeah, it seems crazy. Like, Strava versus like professional road racing. It really feels like the Strava stuff is like getting more play at this point.
It's weird.
People are breaking the Zwift record, and I'm writing about that.
I haven't even started down the Zwift thing yet. I don't know. I think people, there's things that people like about Strava that they can identify with. I think at first they thought it was funny that like a pro was actually trying, because no one's really tried at Strava like I was. No one's put a 13-pound bike in a speed suit on to get Latigo before, but that's happening tomorrow. So I think that's one angle of it, and then they get to compare themselves to it. That's definitely part of it. Like people like want me to go to their climb that no race has ever gone up. They want to see like what I can do on Old La Honda in San Francisco, because they've been doing it for 10 years, and like I want to see how good I am compared to a pro.
Yeah. I like that. So Latigo is tomorrow.
I'm trying to. I already got Latigo, but I think I could do better. I got like Latigo was one of the first ones I went for last year, and now like it's been fun to see my power change. It's because on paper I've gotten better. I know that I have no endurance anymore, because I'm riding like I cap it at 4 hours, and I don't ride hard like 2 days in a row anymore. But like all of my like all the benchmarks that pros look at, like your 5 minute and your 20 minute and your 1 hour, all that's gone up. Like all of it. But I know awesome. But I know if I tried to do a 5 minute effort twice, I'm screwed. Yeah. And if I go over 600 watts once, I have to sit down. But it's been really funny. Like post, like I send text messages of my power files to my friends, and they're like, "Dude, you got to return." I'm like, "No, I'd get dropped immediately." Yeah, like it's not going to work that way. It's totally different how fast you adapt to stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the older you get, even when you were pro, have you had to start spending more time on like self-care and like the foam rolling thing and all that?
No, I'm gonna admit something that's. I'm not ashamed, because I never got injured my whole career. Like I never had a whatever.
Knock on wood, you're still going for these KOMs.
That's true. This is when the injury happens. This is when I break a collarbone for the first time. It's
going to be you doing
on a
something...
Strava mission.
Yeah,
and that would serve me right.
You're just gonna be like done with Latigo, so stoked, and like turn to descend, and just like immediately.
That's how it should happen. That would be like the good ending to my worst retirement ever. But
oh my god,
I never foam rolled. I never stretched. I like couldn't afford to get a massage. Like if something was tight, I'd like rub it. But I don't know. I think like people can get OCD with all that stuff, and like I guess that was always like the time that I would work on a business or something. I would just like take my mind off of cycling and like I'd write or whatever, and it wouldn't. I'm sure I'm lucky to an extent, but I neglected all of that stuff, and I'll admit it, and I lived through it. And screw you guys.
I don't know. There's a yoga mat on the floor.
I like to do yoga, but that's dusty on there.
Okay.
No, when I was racing, that's the other part of the reason that I had that was I had like a very busy. I was on Bissell and I signed to Garmin Sharp, and I had like a crazy fall because I was from Georgia, but I was kind of moving out here, and I was just a lot of stuff was going on, and I like before that I'd fought it. I'd been like trying to foam roll, and I would try to get a massage, and then there was a point where like I couldn't. It didn't happen for like 3 months, and I went to training camp, and I was like, you know, you get a massage every day at camp, and I hadn't had one in forever, and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. They're gonna know. And I got on the table, and she was like, oh, you're really flexible. You've been doing your foam rolling and stretching, and I was like, yeah.
It's like when you go to the dentist and like, right. Oh, you've been flossing every day.
Yeah, it's like I've never flossed, and now you've enabled me to never floss.
Exactly, but thank you.
Yeah. So that was kind of part of that. That was how I rationalized it.
Now you just bring that around and just like put it out there.
Yeah. Like I got away with it.
Placebo effect. Just put a yoga mat in your living room. And
yeah.
It totally works. I like it.
If it's there, I'm less likely to not do it. Mm-hmm. Like I might. I'll pull up like a 20-minute like YouTube yoga video.
Yeah. No, I do that every morning. I've got like my 10 minutes of like yoga stuff.
Yeah, that's been my goal, and it happens once a week. And that thing sits there to make people think I'm serene.
Yeah. I think I've actually done it like 350 days out of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I got serious about it.
Nice.
A year ago. Now I added like, I just do like 5 minutes of planks first and then like 5 minutes of yoga. So I feel like a badass. It's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a huge change. I do, Tara Stiles, who has Strava Yoga, has really good yoga videos.
Okay. I do, Yoga Amazing. That's my guy. His name's Chaz. I think he's like from Arkansas. It's pretty funny.
He sounds great.
It's just he's endearing. It's not too hard. I don't know.
I used to do one that was called like I think power yoga, where you actually hold 5-pound weights during it.
Right.
It is the dumbest thing. Like the guys that used to live with me would just like sit on the couch and just like watch me.
Right. That's part of it. Is I do it at home. I don't want anybody to see me. I don't want to go to a class. Like if you incorporate first, if yoga costs $18 and you have to drive there and find parking, like I'm already pissed. And it's I'm sure I just do it wrong, and it's close enough here. And someday I'll be able to do the crow pose.
It's fine.
But I face plant every time. I always try, and I always face plant.
And you've got really long legs, so it might just be like a balance.
Well, I just don't. There's also like an
situation.
arm-shoulder muscle issue.
I was trying to give you an excuse there, but
no, I know that. Yeah, I was doing the photos. We were doing a photo shoot for the Fondo today. We're like making our ads and stuff, and I was like, it was a giant jar of cookies that they were having me hold out, and I was like, you need to hurry up. Like, this isn't gonna...
Can we get the lighter jar?
The clock is ticking on this not falling on the floor.
She like smash it at the end. Like, and we're clever.
No, we did... Those cookies will not be eaten, we'll put it that way. Those are not going to be eaten. People will see why when they see it, but
all right.
It's pretty gross.
I'm excited about this,
and
then.
I have a stomach ache.
Okay. I need some Strava tips here. How do I get KOMs?
I mean, the thing is, like, it's not fair for me to give tips because I start with the base of, like, I was an uphill time trialist anyway. That was the only thing I was ever good at in racing.
Be a really good hill climber.
So, do all of the training for a million years and get way fitter than everybody else. And then, like, enter this little arena that no pro has ever competed in. That helps a lot.
I think you did just hit on a tip there, though, which is, like, know your strength. You're going after hill climbs. You are an uphill T-tier.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if you're... I don't know, like, if you're a big person, like, don't go for the uphill ones. That's not going to last. Go for the flat ones. But then the flat ones, I don't know. To me, like, Strava, it wouldn't really work if it wasn't uphill because the flat ones, there's drafting, and then downhills, that's just a super dumb idea. No, I'm uniquely suited to Strava because the only thing that makes any sense is an uphill time trial, and that's the only thing I was ever good at. But yeah, you pace it like I don't know. I would set like a target time, and then like I would just know my body well enough to know like I'm gonna if the current record is 5 minutes, and I was doing this like at the San Dimas time trial back in the day, and that was kind of like, okay, the winner last year did it in 14:20. I'm gonna pace to explode at 14 minutes, and then hopefully I'm not too far off and limping the last couple 100 meters, but like you can figure it out. So I do that on the Stravas too. Just like if it's 5 minutes, I try to blow up at 4.5, and hopefully I'm at the finish line at the end of that.
Now, every time you ride, I assume you don't go for Stravas. This
No.
is like a selective...
Right. That's the other thing is, people... I think this is just like an amateur athlete problem, but you can see it on Strava. Is people just like... They think like the determination thing is, okay, I missed it. I'm going to go back tomorrow and get it. Yep. And it's like, no, if you like went all out for 20 minutes today, guarantee you're slower tomorrow. So like that was the other thing is I would do on there is like I do like a proper taper. I do like as if I would race. For if it's a target Strava, you take like I'll have a big week or something, and then take a day off and a day easy, and then a day like open your legs up like a time trial like you would, and like I don't know. I just had a coach for all these. Like I know how to do it. It's not complicated, but you like. And you go all in for it, and then like the next day you should probably be screwed. And like you can't just decide to go back and go faster magically. Like your legs are going to be tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one of the juniors that was staying with us in Oxnard under the bus and say he realized that one of the other kids we were living with had like third place on Deer Creek.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's actually like my favorite climb in the area. I love it.
The view is nuts. Yeah.
The view is insane. It also just like hurts like a mother, but you're allowed to go 30 RPM, which is like my sweet spot.
Right. And there's no traffic up there. It's a good one.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Cars are stupid to go on Deer Creek.
Yeah, but so he realized it's the first day. So day 2, he's like, I think I'm just gonna go like hit Deer Creek. Like no big deal. Like trying to be like super chill, like casual about it. Like And then the next day we're like, oh, what route are you gonna do? He's like, oh, like I think I might head out and do Deer Creek. Weeks of this.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, you
He's going slower every time.
Every time. We're like, you're not going to get closer to it.
No, like people just, I mean, this is just a training question, but like, if you want to, like, if you have a goal, you have to like take it seriously and plan it out and like rest, all that stuff. Yeah, you can't do... I wouldn't do like 2 days of Strava KOMs. Maybe like, actually I would do like a short one as an opener. I'd do like a 3-minute one and that one, like I wouldn't be at my best, but whatever, it's 3 minutes. And then the next day, like now I'm hot for a long one.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about the bike, because I know so many people are obsessed with it. It's fun.
It's I really... It's been like a nice little feather in my cap that I retired and I upgraded bikes. Like that's just, there's something hilarious about like, and I have sponsors. It's like really funny. But yeah, my bike.
You did it right, man.
Not on purpose. Yeah, it's the worst retirement ever. I'm also bad at retiring. I wasn't good enough to race. I can't even do this right. I can't get anything right. So Cannondale makes like. They make their high mod, like, super nice race bike. It's whatever, it was like 15 pounds. Like, they have disc brake version, so I was kind of alternating those last year. But then they make the, like, high mod, like the ultra high mod. It's called the Black Ink, which is, like, an even higher mod, like, I don't even know what, but it's just a crazy expensive carbon. And then, like, it comes stock with all this geeky stuff on it. And then I got even geekier So it's down to 13.5 pounds or something, but it's kind of like, it could be lighter. Like I could get it to 10 pounds, but it wouldn't be faster. Like people like bike dorks get confused about the goal of their bike and they just try to make it like win the scale. But if you have super shallow wheels and like your seat is carbon fiber and you get hemorrhoids, like you're screwed up. So like I've got the seat I got the ISM saddle, it's heavy, but like I don't have problems down there. Yeah. My crotch is pristine. And I've got like real deep tubular Mavic wheels because like, I don't know, Diablo, like I'm going my big ring and all these KOM things. Like you can't have shallow wheels. So I have like functional speed. It's a super light bike. I cut off the aero bar or the drops, which has been very controversial, which is exactly what I wanted. Everyone fell right into my trap of like,
you're a media
I'm looking
genius.
at it, I'm gonna piss everybody off. I want to do something really obnoxious, and it makes sense because like drops. You use drops for going down hills, and I don't go down hills. I have a follow car, and I get in the car. It's cold at the top. I'm not bringing clothes. I have like a speed suit, and then I get in the car and get a ride down. So I don't need the drops to turn, and I have like the little aero bar clip-ons to get like a little faster on the flat bits. It's a specialized machine, and it's not really good for much else.
How do you like the clip-on aero bars? I think I need to get a set.
I got like the super stubby ones. I don't know how much I like them yet. I'll find out. Like Latigo is to test them. That's why I'm going for Latigo tomorrow. Because I'm going to need them. My next episode is Mount Lemon, and like average speed of that is over 20. So that's moving. So I feel like I'll be draped. But there were a lot of parts when I did Diablo, and I'm not gonna say whether I got Diablo or not. But I was realizing like this is a very draftable climb, and if like the Tour of California raced up it, it's going to be quite near impossible without some assistance. So
yeah, we're doing Ironman Whistler this summer, and I refuse to get a tri-bike. So I'm just throwing aero bars on my road bike, and
you can fake it. Like it's close.
There's 2,000 meters of climbing on that course. Like
that might even be faster on a road bike with clip-ons in.
And like more comfortable. And I mean, as we pointed out with the pristine crotch situation, I'd rather not like throw myself on a bike I haven't ridden a bunch.
The TT bike is like it's super fast if you put the time into it. Like Tony Martin probably rides his time trial bike more than his road bike. That's a complete guess, but like I definitely would like you see those guys around Girona, and like Rowan Dennis on a TT bike a lot.
I have no interest in riding around on my TT bike.
No. So I would just set up my TT bike to like the exact same position as my road bike, like just as the same saddle if I could, and then I get on it and the power is about the same, and like it worked. That was good enough. Yeah, it was fine.
On the topic of saddle sores, though, you went a lot of years as a pro. What were your secrets to avoiding them?
Chamois butter was always very nice to me. They would just, even when they weren't sponsoring me, they would just like send me stuff. I just email the guy.
Have you seen that they now have like the giant containers?
They have the big tub, which is nice. They have like the little individual ones.
I love those too.
Yeah, I'll just like throw them into the back of my car, like because you never want to be without it. So just like scatter them. I learned that actually when I was on Jelly Bean. They send you like the sample bean bags, and everywhere you go, people ask for like a little jelly bean sample. So I just learned like just put 2 handfuls into every backpack, every suitcase, and I do that with chamois butter now, little packets.
Yeah, those things are amazing.
If you're ever out, you're in trouble, but...
chamois butter. Have you stuck with the same saddle over the years, or do you change it?
You're not allowed. Like, you always have different sponsors. So I kind of had, like, one saddle that worked for me, and then I would try to match... I would just, like... So, say I was on Cell Italia one year, I'd be like, okay, next year I'm on Physique. Like, what's the Physique saddle that measures closest to the Cell Italia? And then I would do that, and it always, like, kind of worked. And then when I was on Optum, they had the ISM saddles, which is the crazy one with like the 2 prongs. It looks like they have it on TT bikes more often, like triathletes are into it. And that thing was like a giant pain when they made me use it. It was like really hard to get used to. And then once I like got it set up right, because it's just night and day, it's so different. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is better.
I like this, yeah.
And now like, so as soon as I got, like I kept one in my garage, and as soon as I was like out of contract with the team, I just threw that one back on.
Nice.
Yeah, the way this is slightly offensive, but the way that I know that this saddle is better is if I finished like a long ride on like a regular saddle. So the ISM, like you're sitting on your sit bones. That's the idea. You're sitting on like the 2 prongs, and it's just a totally different way of sitting, basically. But I found like I could finish a ride on my old saddle, and if I was gonna have sex, I'd need like half an hour. But ISM, I could stop and have sex in the feed zone if I needed to, if there was a reason.
If you needed to, absolutely.
And I don't know if that translates to any kind of performance, but like for blood flow, it just made sense. Like from just noticing that, I was like, yeah, that's probably something I should stick to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I did a talk. I do lady part talks all over the place, and at one place, I had a woman say that she started riding and didn't want to have sex because her nether regions were just numb all of the time. Yeah. Now. And it had been like 5 years. Oh. I was like, okay, so that's wrong.
Yeah, something's wrong. Like between the bike fit and the saddle and the way you're sitting, like there's you just need to get it right.
It was like the most like amazing thing to me to realize that some people just don't actually like connect that as like problematic.
Right.
So yeah, if it's like,
well, she's probably just like, oh, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm surprised she kept riding.
Yeah. But, like, 30 minutes, okay. Like,
Right.
if it's, like, a couple hours and you
Right,
still, like,
no.
couldn't do it if your life depended on it, like, problematic.
Yeah, I would have one bike right under my belt if that was how it went out.
Yeah.
I'd never do it again.
Over it.
And it probably happens to a lot of people. They're just like, oh, it's gonna come to my crotch. I don't ride bikes.
Well, that's why I do these talks, because
Yeah.
I feel like I've now saved a few people from, like, giving up cycling altogether.
Yeah, good. So we need you out
The
there.
Capes Crusader
Right.
for vaginal health
Just
on
throwing chamois
cycling.
cream packets. At
I
people.
do. It's like like a concert when they have, like, the t-shirt bombs. It's me with chamois cream.
There you go.
It's great.
Well, you have people too that you see that like their fit's way off. Like they just
Yeah.
they bought a bike and they just,
Well, like
people
the
don't know how much it
15-year-old
meant.
in the
Yeah.
shop, like, set the seat height
Exactly.
for them.
And it's kind of like a quick tweak you'd really enjoy this time.
Exactly. Oh, drives me crazy. Hey guys, if you didn't know, in addition to doing this podcast, I'm also the author of a few different books on cycling, including Saddle Sore, Ride Comfortable, Ride Happy, which came out last November. So, if you were on a ride and you sprained your ankle, would you say something to the group you were riding with? Of course you would. But what about when you're on a ride and you realize that you've gone completely numb down there, or you're chafing so badly you're afraid you might be bleeding? Most people don't speak up in that case. Most people will just suffer in silence and have no idea why they have massive saddle sores, if they realize they have saddle sores at all, or they just won't ride that much anymore. So, it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or a pro, this stuff happens, it's awkward, we don't love talking about it, but that lack of communication is hurting our riding and it's making it so much less fun. So, enter Saddle Sore, the first guide that answers all of these embarrassing, awkward, or plain weird questions that you have about the bike and those sensitive areas. In my book, you learn how to diagnose and treat saddle sores, how to choose a saddle and a chamois, whether a pad is better than a tampon, what causes numbness on the bike, how to get back to riding after pregnancy, and so much more. And you'll also find new chapters, including a section for male riders and a ton more questions than the original edition that came out in 2014. So pick up a new copy of the 2016 version over at consummateathlete.com/shop, where you can find more info on the book or the link to buy it over on Amazon. And we'll have it in the show notes as well. Give it a look. Okay, so if you weren't gonna ride bikes anymore, which, I mean, it seems like even in your retirement you are not stopping riding anytime soon. Yeah, what sport? I mean, will you try mountain bikes? Will you try cross?
I try mountain bikes, and I'm slow at it, but I'm getting better. Mountain bikes are fun. It's nice. Like I was up in Big Bear, and there's like a ton of really good trails there that I'm gonna explore. I don't think I'll race again. I don't really see myself competing. To be honest, on the road, like just the idea of like looking at a pack is still like I have a weird visceral like reaction to it. I don't know. I don't think I want to race mountain bikes either, but I think like it's a fun way to just cruise around and it's beautiful. Just being on the trails and stuff.
I think it's good to have a sport that doesn't have to involve a start and finish line.
Yeah, and there's if I want to be competitive, like Strava exists, and there's group rides that exist, and I imagine at some point I'll get slow enough that'll be shameful. I'm not good at other sports, and I don't like them.
You have like no interest in like running or hiking or triathlon.
I like hiking. Hiking, I don't even see that as a sport so much as like it's
true.
like a nice way to spend
I just throw that one out there I can like make you say that you're going to do something.
If anyone is anti-hiking, they're insane.
I know.
No, like hiking, and I actually I like working out at the gym. I think like if I didn't have time to ride, I like that you can go to the gym and like you can get a lot of work done pretty quick. It's kind of an efficient workout thing.
Do you ever jump into like a spin class?
No, that's been on my list, but I'm pretty sure I'd hate it.
It's awful, but it's actually really interesting as a cyclist.
Yeah, I'm sure it's super different.
It's really weird.
Yeah. And I think it would really piss me off. Like, I live in LA. It's beautiful outside all the time. That's one reason. Like people run on treadmills in this city, and I want to kill them.
It's so perplexing to me.
Go if you can ride on a spin bike, if you can ride on a trainer, like go live in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like go somewhere where it's cheaper and but if you live here, like enjoy it. Get some vitamin D, man.
It's insane. Like I'll run past gyms and see people in the window.
Yeah, and it's just like you should just lock all those up, everybody.
I'm totally on board. I really want to, I keep telling Peter we need to get a treadmill desk, and that I'm on board with, because I would love to be able to walk like while I work.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's different.
Because I do a lot of walking like while I do phone calls and crap like that, but I have been known to like walk into things because I'm like, you know, emailing.
Yeah, that works.
But yeah, so treadmill desk is my next thing. But
That's
that doesn't count. That's
that's efficiency, yeah.
That's efficient.
I've heard about, there's the standing desks.
Yeah.
And then you could stand on a skateboard.
Yes.
And you get like a core workout.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be in desk life soon. I'll have to figure that stuff out.
That's right. Are you excited? When is that starting?
I don't know. We're working on it, and I'm not in a huge rush because I'm having fun.
Yeah. You've got enough on the go, but...
Well, I'm going to lose my mind if I don't start doing something that's a little more meaningful than Strava soon. No offense, but...
Sorry, Strava.
Yeah. No, like, it's like I'm planning the fondo, and I have one book that's done and comes out in October, and then one that's out now, so it's kind of like I'm busy enough. But at some point, like, I'll start that. And that's going to be fun. That'll be like a fun next chapter.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, even like for me, the last 4 weeks, I haven't had anything other than my normal full-time writing jobs and the new book coming out and the book that came out in November and all this stuff. But I'm still going a little stir crazy, not having any like on the calendar. Like, work stuff. Like when I'm with Jeremy and we're flying all over the place, like I have a full schedule, and in 2 weeks that'll start back up. Not for him, but other stuff will start back up, and I'm like kind of excited. I'm also kind of like, crap.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure I'll have that mix too when I'm
really
actually at the desk. I'll be like, man, writing was good. But
yeah,
I guess for me, it's kind of like I know that I'm only going to get slower on the bike. Like I'm not going to do. I don't see myself doing a second season of Worst Retirement ever on YouTube.
How many retirements can you...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and I think, like, I'm done with books. Like, I don't want any more books to happen to me. So, like, the things that I'm working on are kind of, like, they're finite, and I want to work on something that will grow.
Yeah.
So, like, everything I'm doing now is like, the fondo will grow, but everything else is kind of, like, winding down, and it's, like, healthy to let that happen.
Yeah.
But I want to, like, do something that I can start climbing a ladder again.
I'm going to be really interested to see, like, in 2 years how you're feeling about that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be really hard, I think, to give up all of the different projects and be focusing on, like... But the stuff you're going to do is
I think, I'll be in an agency that has, like, different projects all the time. Yeah. And, I think... I've convinced myself it's going to be good, and I truly believe that. And, like... I think it'll be awesome. I'm working with, I know, and, like, so, yeah. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, there is a desk... I bought a shirt with I bought a polo shirt. I never had to wear a polo shirt. I bought a couple of them. I made it to 31 without a collar.
Oh man!
Other than weddings, so that's a pretty good streak too. That's a streak that had to end.
Were they like fancy like Rafa merino polo shirts?
No. I just got some like I don't know, like what they're just passable polo shirts.
Okay.
I'm not wasting money on that stuff.
Fair enough.
I will be the person in the office with a polo shirt and cookie socks. Like that's mine, right there. It's under my pants. Nobody knows, but this is me.
It's like wearing like sexy underwear.
You can put me in a desk suit. Exactly. You can put me in a desk, but you can't take that away from me. I have cookies on my socks, and I know that. Yeah, that's true.
It's a really strong stance there.
I don't have any sexy underwear, so.
Well, maybe that's the next chapter.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, we'll think about it. Cookie underwear could be a thing.
Yeah, you could get Castelli on board with that. No
I'll
problem.
Put it on the to-do list. I'm good at cookie underwear.
All right, but I get first dibs. Seems
what?
Like the cookie underwear.
When I sell them?
Yeah.
I just thought I was going to buy some and wear them. I was just
no, you've got to make these.
Okay, I'm going to monetize it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll think about it.
Come on. Okay, last question here. Important. People who've already read your books, already ordered Ask a Pro, any other book recommendations for people? Like, what are some of the books like inspired you and that you love? And they don't have to be cycling either.
Sure. No, they wouldn't. I don't know. I kind of like made a point to not read any cycling books because I didn't want to like rip anybody off accidentally.
That's
or, like,
really smart.
Take myself. What else? I didn't honestly like when the way my like the thing is my writing isn't even creative because I'm just like telling a story that happened to me. Like I don't actually know what creative writing is, but but even my level was enough that it was like creatively difficult and like I would do the like the tortured artist thing where I'm up in the middle of the night like pulling my hair out over a sentence and like wake up like I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and be like I have to change this word in this sentence and I'd like go and it's like I actually changed that yesterday.
Yeah,
I
is
just
it
got
ever
up and,
actually
went to my
better when
computer.
you come up with the 4
It
a.m.?
is, like, it's crucial, and it, like, in my head, like, it's super, so, like, now I finished the proofs with my publisher for the next one, and, like, I'll be on a ride, and I'll, like, oh, I gotta change that sentence, I gotta, like, email Patrick, be like, yo, one sentence, here's a whole new document, but one crucial sentence is...
Very important.
And, like, it'll bother me if it's not.
When you're on a ride and you get those ideas, do you pull out your phone and, like, make notes?
No,
or how do you do?
that's a tip. I have a voice recorder. It's like a little Olympus, like $40, and you just talk into it. So like that lives in a separate pocket.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got...
That'll work for groceries too.
That's so smart. So I actually, I got the Apple Watch for like other reasons, but my main thing was that I could do that during rides.
Right.
The problem is, as soon as you like try, like you have to like hold this wrist up and hit a button, so you have to ride no hands because it won't turn on if you just try to hit it from down here.
Yeah. No, once you're going through like the menus on your iPhone with the voice memos and stuff, like if you just have one, if you're gonna do that, like just have one thing, and I think like it's useful for anything, like if you're if you're not writing.
I think that's genius.
Yeah, I finished my ride and just like just listen to myself and type it into something. One time, actually, I was at Paris-Roubaix this year, and at that point, I knew I was writing a third book, like about my world tour years, and I was kind of like taking notes for it. So I had my little voice recorder, and it fell out of my jacket at the team presentation, and like a couple of the guys on the team like saw it and thought I was like spying on them, and actually were pissed. And to this day, like I didn't give a shit what they thought anyway, but like it wasn't even on.
Yeah.
But they thought I was like recording their conversation about I don't know what. It was fun. I was like, yeah, I guess it serves me right for like trying to write a book and be on a bike team.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining it like you just like in the peloton during the race, just like
there were a lot of times that I wished that I'd had it because like something funny happened in the race. Like, I hope I don't forget this. But no, I never stooped to that.
That's awesome. Oh man, you have like a mini media empire, I'm realizing. I actually made that note. And
if you could have an empire and it not be lucrative, then yes.
Really mini. Like,
yeah. It's minuscule. Yeah.
When you first got into cycling as the chubby kid, did you ever imagine that this was going to be where it led to?
No. Well, I don't even know where I am.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I never like thought beyond the next step, which is probably why I have like a very scattered resume, and maybe that was a mistake. I remember like Jeremy actually talking to me about that once of like goal setting, and he was like, what's your like long-term career goal? And I was like, I've been shoveling coal in this engine and trying to go like another foot forever. And I don't even know like where I have no clue.
Yeah.
And I never like had the luxury of that or the ability to.
Yeah, he did that to me like right before Worlds, before his race. It's just like, what's your 5-year plan? It's like, oh my God, can we focus on the next 10 minutes, please?
Jeremy just want to talk about anything except the World Championships.
Like, hey,
sure.
I'm freaked out enough like about his race and like, I don't want to start thinking about 5 years now. Right.
Jeremy's an interesting brain. I think that's why we get along too. Is we both like we have a similar kind of OCD and
yeah, he's the best. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting. This was
fun.
rad.
Thanks for sitting in traffic to make it happen.
No problem. Thanks so much for listening to the Consummate Athlete Podcast.
We would love if you would head over to iTunes and leave us a review. And while you're there, consider subscribing.
We'd also love to connect over at Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Molly J. Herford and Peter is at Peter Glassford.
If you have ideas or questions from today's podcast, or you just want to browse some of the show notes and past shows, you can also check us out at consummateathlete.com.
Thanks, guys, and we will see you next time.